How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts by review on the show. So, it kicks off with the Undertaker's final message to Brock Lesnar. So what is it? Is it a match stipulation or anything like that? No, it was just more talk. It was just Undertaker saying that, 21 men have tried to end the streak, but they've all failed. And speaking of that, whenever superstars say that in promos or on commentary, he did beat 21 superstars, or, did get 21 victories, but it's not 21 superstars that attempted to defeat the streak, because you had Kane, who tried twice, Shawn Michaels as well tried twice, Triple H tried 3 times, so that's 7 attempts by superstars that tried more than once, so 21 minus 7, that's 14 superstars that actually tried to end the Undertaker streak. Some of them tried more than once. But anyways, he says that at WrestleMania, Brock will rest in peace, and that's when Brock Lesnar interrupts. When Brock interrupts, Paul Heyman does the talking, telling Taker that this is not a match Brock has to win, it's a match that Taker must not lose. And he says that all it takes is one F5, and then 3 seconds later, the streak is over. Anyways, after the talking's over, Brock and Paul Heyman go to leave, but then Brock kind of stays there, looks back. He teases going to the ring, but he stops. He does that a couple times, like heels usually do, but he did it more than once. And then him and Paul Heyman circled the ring. Paul Heyman grabs a chair, goes inside the ring really quickly, and then that gives the time for Brock to come in from behind, and then he goes after Taker. Taker, I believe, Irish whips him, but Brock comes back with a clothesline, and then he follows that up with an F5 to get the upper hand, to get the advantage, and go into WrestleMania with the momentum, as I predicted in my Raw preview. So, following that, it was Big E Langston versus Del Rio in a non-title matchup. They ended up having a pretty good match too, and the crowd was also into it. This matchup, there was a lot of instances, well actually, the entire match, I didn't know who was going to win. I was like, damn, does Big E win? Does Del Rio win? There were a lot of moments where I thought maybe this guy would win, but then it would switch and be like, nah, maybe he wins after, this certain spot or whatever. And you had Del Rio lock on the cross arm breaker. Big E powers out of it, power bombs him. Del Rio kicks out. Big E goes for a splash. Del Rio gets his knees up. But the moment where I was like, alright, Del Rio's winning this was when Big E was hanging from the, top turnbuckle or whatever. His feet were hanging from ropes. And then Del Rio from the top turnbuckle jumped and did a double stomp on Big E, and then he followed that up with the super kick and won the match. And then following that, they show replay of last night's Total Diva episode where Summer Rae slapped Natalya. They showed just that bit, and then Summer Rae comes out to, some new theme music or entrance music. I'm not sure if it's actually new. I'm not sure if she was using Fandango's theme before or not, but it's like a theme song for her. It's not the same one as Fandango. She comes out for a matchup against Natalya, so Natalya comes out next, and surprisingly, Summer Rae won the match. Natalya was trying to go for the sharpshooter, but Summer Rae pushed her off, and then she rolled out of the ring, but Natalya grabbed her by the hair, she pulled her up onto the apron, but then, on the apron, Summer Rae kicks Natalya in the head, and then she rolls back in the ring, covers Natalya, and gets the victory. Afterwards, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come out to give a goodbye to the Yes Movement, talking about how they're going to end the Yes Movement. They also talk about, other, chants that have happened before and that have just gotten away. And he talks about how people nowadays aren't loyal, and this Yes Movement is just going to, end. People are going to move on. He talks about how, there was this chant, the night after the last WrestleMania, and then he does pretty much the Fandango, dance, or when the crowd was chanting Fandango's theme, he mocks that. Him and Stephanie mock that, but then he says, but you guys abandoned that shortly after, and he says the kid's a good talent, he's a B+ player, maybe even an A player, but it talks about how he's gonna beat Daniel Bryan. And they show a video package of all these other superstars like Goldberg, Jericho, Scott Steiner, Rob Van Dam, all these superstars that the fans liked for numerous reasons. You know, Scott Steiner for the posing. Actually, my bad. They said Rob Van Dam, you know, for the posing. Scott Steiner for the flexing. They said you could also get the fans' support by, you know, having some catchphrases. So they showed Jericho, and they showed Booker T, Goldberg, a bunch of superstars that Triple H basically took out. They also showed Jeff Hardy, and you know him doing his high risk moves. And it also showed Triple H taking every single one of them out, hitting them with steel chairs, pedigreeing them, and all that. Basically showing that Triple H took all those superstars out that had these catchphrases or the fans got behind. And then basically Triple H sums up the promo, and he's about to leave. But then Batista's music hits, and he interrupts. And something I thought was cool was when he made his entrance, they brought back the spotlight. When he was a heel, before he left, you know, he'd have the spotlight during his entrance where the arena would all be dark, no lights except for a spotlight on Batista. They brought that back, so I thought that was a nice touch there. And anyways, he asked Triple H how come he wasn't on that video, and then he says, "Oh yeah, it's because, you know, you never beat me." And then Triple H says, you know, he keeps saying that. It's like, you know, it's the only thing you can think about. You can't think about anything else. And then Batista also makes fun of Triple H and Stephanie, saying that, you know, Triple H is the brains of the situation while, or the operation, while Stephanie is the brawn. And then Randy interrupts. And then Randy tells Stephanie, "Oh, before you slap Batista like last week, you know, let me get inside the ring and have a ringside view of it." But then he's like, no, you know what? You know, don't touch him. I want Batista for myself tonight in the matchup so he can beat him up or whatever. And then he talks about how, you know what? You know, while he isn't a fan of it, he does agree that a triple threat at WrestleMania is what's best for business. Pretty much kissing Triple H's ass, kissing up to him. And then Triple H tells him, you know, Randy, no matter how much ass kissing you do, I guess it's not going to change the situation. Something like that. Something along those lines. And eventually, what happens is Triple H makes the match between Randy and Batista a no disqualification match tonight. And that was it for the segment. Afterwards, it was an 8-man tag team match, Los Matadores and the Usos versus Rybackaxel and the Real Americans. And also during the WWE app where they made their entrances, I noticed Ryback and Curtis Axel now have like a theme song just for them. It's not just Ryback's theme, because they used to come out to just Ryback's theme song, but now it's a mix of Ryback's theme and Axel's. I will say though, I do prefer just the Ryback team or just Curtis Axel's theme on its own. I don't really like the mix here, but anyways, Los Matadores and the Usos end up winning the match when, by the way, the crowd was really behind the Real Americans, and they were chanting "We the People," but at the same time, they always chant "We the People," so, but anyways, towards the end, Jack Swagger was pretty dominant, and he was locking on the ankle lock on one of the Los Matadores, I'm not sure which one, and then one of the Usos comes in the ring, and Jack Swagger takes him out, and then starts yelling at him, not looking behind him, and behind him, the Uso that had the ankle lock on him, or Patriot lock, rolls out of the ring while the other one rolls inside the ring, so pretty much they do the switcheroo or whatever, the same thing the Bell Twins used to do. And then Jack Swagger turns around and he tries to lock in the ankle lock on the other Matadors, which he thinks is the one he was locking on, the Patriot lock earlier, but it's not. And the fresh one just rolls up Jack Swagger and gets the 3 count. And yeah, Los Matadores and the Usos beat the Real Americans and Rybackaxel. After that, it was Cody and Goldust versus Damien Sandow and Fandango. The team of Cody and Goldust end up winning after Goldust hits the final cut on Damien Sandow. After that match, you get the Shield backstage cutting a promo on the match with Kane tonight because the fans could choose one of the Shield members versus Kane tonight. And they say it doesn't matter who the fans choose, Kane's in trouble. And they also warned the New Age Outlaws about interfering tonight. And they say that the Shield is not to be messed with. And then after that, Bray Wyatt faces off against R-Truth. Of course, Bray Wyatt wins the matchup with Sister Abigail. And then, after the match, something I thought was pretty cool was, you know, he does this pose where he puts his arms up, or extends his arms, and he's got Eric Rowan and Luke Harper behind him. Eric Rowan having the goat mask on. Actually, before that, Xavier Woods, you know, checked on R-Truth after the match, and Luke Harper Eric Rowan just grabbed him and threw him towards Luke Harper, who hit him with a discus clothesline. And then they do the pose, you know, the White Family pose, and then from behind, you see somebody else creep up with another sheep mask. Sorry, sheep mask, not goat mask. I know last week, I might have said it a few seconds ago, it's not a goat mask, it's a sheep mask. I don't know why last week I said it was a goat mask. Wrong animal. Anyways, so you see somebody else with a sheep mask in the middle, and then Bray Wyatt turns around, and he looks at him like, what? Who's that? And then, you know, of course it's John Cena, so he takes off the mask, and it's Cena. Cena punches Luke Harper, takes him out, and then hits an attitude adjustment on Eric Rowan. He tries to hit one on Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt gets out of it and quickly rolls out of the ring, and the Wyatt family just stand there on the stage while John Cena's music hits and he poses. Following that, it was a Lumberjill match between AJ and Naomi. The Lumberjills were basically all the divas that are going to be in the Vicky Guerrero Invitational match at WrestleMania, and throughout the match, when AJ would get thrown out of the ring, she'd get put back inside the ring, and towards the end, she gets outside of the ring where kind of Tamina is, and Tamina protects her from the other divas, but the other divas all attack Tamina, and they grab AJ, put her back in the ring, and that's when Naomi hits the rear end, covers AJ, and wins the match. And then after that, Renee Young interviews John Cena, and pretty much to sum it up, he tells Bray Wyatt, you know, if you want change, I'll give you change at WrestleMania, because you'll have to change the way you walk, because he's going to shove his foot up his ass, or shove his foot up Bray Wyatt's ass. Anyways, after that, it was time to find out who was going to face off against Kane, which member of the Shield would be taking on Kane, and the winning person, or the winning member, was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns got 80% of the votes, while Dean Ambrose got 9%, and Seth Rollins got 11%. So as far as the match goes, it was pretty short before the New Age Outlaws tried to interfere. They were walking down the ramp, but then behind them was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. They attacked the New Age Outlaws, and in the end, you know, the New Age Outlaws ended up saving Kane from getting hit from the Shield with a triple powerbomb. So really, there was no clear winner in the match. And then after that, it was actually Piper Spit, a special Piper Spit WrestleMania 30 edition. And he talked about WrestleMania 1, and then started talking about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this Sunday. And he wanted to bring out, or talk about his favorite, his pick to win the match. And that's when The Miz comes out, you know, saying, really, really. And, you know, he comes out, talks about how he's going to win the match, and then Sheamus comes out, Titus O'Neil comes out. Basically, you know, every single member of the Battle Royale come out to say how they're going to win the match, and eventually it leads to a brawl. Rey Mysterio's music hits, he joins the brawl, and they brawl, and then eventually the favorite, Piper's favorite, comes out, which is the Big Show, and he's taking out everybody. In the end, he takes out Rey Mysterio by throwing Rey Mysterio on top of everybody else on the outside. And then Piper raises Big Show's head. So, after that, it was time for the main event, Batista versus Randy Orton in a no disqualification match. Before Randy or Batista could even come out, I think Triple H came out first. Or actually, I'm not sure if Triple H came out first, if he came out after Batista and Randy came out. I don't know, it doesn't really matter when he came out, but he came out for commentary with Stephanie McMahon, and they were, you know, throughout the commentary, they were making fun of Daniel Bryan, how he's gonna beat Bryan, and anyways, the matchup, I actually enjoyed the match. It was mostly, and they maybe it's because they mostly use weapons or something, I don't know, but I thought it was entertaining for the short time it got. You know, Batista used a steel chair, Randy used a Singapore cane, they hit their signature moves, the spear, Randy's backbreaker, the DDT, all that. And eventually, towards the end, I think it was after Randy hit a DDT on Batista, the DDT, you know, in between the second and top rope. Daniel Bryan, you hear the crowd cheering, and Daniel Bryan comes out from the crowd from behind Triple H and starts punching Triple H on top of the announcer's table. Randy sees that, so he gets out of the ring and goes after Bryan, starts beating up on Bryan. He throws him on the steel steps, and then he goes back in the ring to, I guess, continue to fight Batista. And I think at that point, Batista spears Randy. Daniel Bryan recovers, gets back in the ring, and he hits a running knee on Batista. Takes out Randy. Basically, he took out everybody. Like I said, takes out Batista, and then he hits a suicide dive on Triple H on the outside, which Triple H sold really well. And then he kept on attacking Triple H on the outside, throwing him onto the steel steps, grabbing the Singapore cane, and hitting Triple H a bunch of times with the cane. Triple H just ran away, got in the ring, and then got out from the other side. And basically, to end the show, Daniel Bryan stood tall and took out all the members of Evolution. And that's about it for the show. Daniel Bryan posed, the yes chant with the crowd while Triple H was raging on the stage. So, highlights of the show. Like the main event, the Batista and Randy Batista and Randy match, and the Daniel Bryan coming out. I didn't expect Daniel Bryan actually to get the momentum going into the show. I was expecting Triple H maybe to actually get the momentum going into the show. Maybe stand tall over, Batista, Randy, and Daniel Bryan. But looks like Daniel Bryan got his payback for, the week before. Well, actually, it wasn't the week before. It was the week before that. Also, the Big E Del Rio match was a good matchup. And I did like the Batista and Authority segment where Batista poked fun at Triple H, asking him why is he not on the video, and then he's like, oh, it's because I beat, he never beat me. And, yeah, so overall, for tonight's Raw, I thought it was a good show. I'd give it, like, an 8 on 10. I also liked when John Cena came from behind the Wyatt family with the sheep mask. So that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it, and with that said, I'm like, guys, see ya.